Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Just a week before Christmas, and you would forgive amateur championship leader Gordon Marshall for believing he's living out the nativity, giving birth to a season many didn't think was possible just weeks ago. His Porsche 992 has remained stable throughout the season, whilst the opposition have felt like they are handling a donkey. If he could be given 3 gifts going into tonight, for sure a clear track in qualifying, an instant-free lap 1, and a strong pit stop would be near the top of his wish list. Bells are ringing for Igor Koss meanwhile, as Luke Payton continues to earn pole positions at will. The German has reason to be merry though, with few presents being given to his championship rival thus far, stocking points to maintain a grip on the Pro-Am championship lead. Disappointingly, mistletoe isn't needed for defending champion Leon Rudinja though, who has kissed the wall on more than one occasion so far this season, finding himself on thin ice with a poor round 1 snowballing into a heavy points deficit. Instead, it is Gabriel Salomon leading the Pro Championship, although Michael Yanni is unlikely to be on his Christmas card list, with a clash at Road Atlanta threatening to cause the Dane to suffer from cold feet when battling for the rest of the season. This is Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Round 5 live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sal Fitzpatrick, and I have Aaron Smith alongside me with Samuli Kumo broadcasting the stream on YouTube. Aaron, how are you?
That took you an hour to write.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, fair enough. I'm both impressed and simultaneously confused, with a hint of more traumatization because of, again, I can't stop thinking about what you wrote a couple of weeks ago.
It's Christmas, Aaron. It's Christmas. It's our last broadcast of the year in ARL, and so let's do something Christmassy. It's 6 days away.
You know, fair enough. That was beautiful, and I couldn't have ever written something like that willingly. So yeah, fair play. That was beautiful. And well, if we had a live audience, I'm pretty sure you'd be getting a round of applause right now. Otherwise, that would have been a very, 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 very long and awkward silence. But now that you're done with your interesting writing, we should probably focus on what's going on our screens right now. You know, on track, it's what we're here for. These Porsche Cup cars have been very impressive over the past few weeks that we've been doing this series. It's been amazing fun to watch, and well, it kind of, the unpredictability, I guess, of it is why we love it so much. It's very close, especially at a track like this where it's not that long, and could have a different winner again today. Can Gabriel Salomon improve on what happened on last week? He's still got a sizable lead in the championship, and well, he's definitely the favourites. We were making predictions before the broadcast started at kind of what percentage chance he has to win this championship, and I was predicting more like 70-80%, but you went for a modest 60. Do you not rate the Dane very high?
I think he's been very good this season. I think there's just so much of an opportunity for bad rounds that it could still switch rounds to other drivers. A poor result, for example, tonight would lose him the championship lead. So we'll see how he is able to cope with that. Let's have a quick look at the championship standings at the moment, as the drivers are currently out for qualifying. Well, the pro drivers are out on qualifying. The AMs and the Prams are complete. Salomon at the top, but it wasn't plain sailing. Like I said in my intro, you won't be sending any Christmas cards to Michael Yanni and a couple of others as well, because he got involved in some incidents, and well, that was the first time he hadn't won an A final event so far this season now.
Yeah, and of course he did get that post-race penalty. I think it was a Bathurst, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame. So, yeah, he's got about an 80% win record now, I think, if my maths are correct, something like that. His win percentage is very, very high, though. Either way, he's been very impressive this season. And like you said, still has a decent lead in the championship, especially over third and everyone else. I think Nicholas Nold, if he can step it up, because he's just been lacking that consistency this season so far. If he can improve on that, I think he will be definitely the main protagonist, apart from Salomon, for the championship this season. In Pro-Am, though, it's looking a little bit more close between Koss and Pennington. Pennington has shown a couple of times over the past few rounds that he does have the pace to beat even some of the big pros. Like, he was on pole last week, but just really fell down the order during the race, and a couple of mistakes as well cost him crucial points, and ended up, I think, only just finishing behind or ahead of Igor Koss. So, yeah, Pennington's got quite a bit of ground to make up. He's about 50 points behind the German, but it's very much still possible, as we're just about coming to the halfway mark of this season.
Yeah, Pennington's actually scored the most points of anyone in the Pro-Ams for 3 out of the 4 rounds. It was just a very poor round one for him, which left him with some catching up to do. In the AMs at the moment, at the top of this one, Gordon Marshall, who has also been very dominant on most of the rounds. That's foul, keeping him honest, and a bit of a gap back to Bjorklund and Balicki and co. And also in the teams championship, this one is still pretty much alive. It was pretty much neck and neck after round 1, but Impulse have been able to open it out, but those top 3 still looking very competitive. We have 6 more minutes in qualifying to go, and it's a different race format for tonight, Aaron. It is the 60-minute race. Usually we have the heats, but this is just a single race, an unusual prospect for these Porsche Cup drivers, which are very much used to the sprints.
I think this could possibly be the most chaotic round we will have of the season, since it's the first time we're using this format as well in these cars this season. And when we do it again later on in the season, they've obviously done it before. They're going to be a little bit more prepared for that one. This, though, it's going to be, obviously qualifying, it's going to be sort of the same thing we've seen over the past few rounds, sort of the same drivers up there. It is looking a little bit different, though. Perhaps some drivers choosing to practice the race a lot more than they have qualifying, which of course would make the most sense. But yeah, 60 minutes in these cars is unheard of for most of these drivers. They got to think about those tyres a lot more than they would, because towards the end of, you know, the A final, which is like 18 minutes long, that's sort of when the tyres start to go off a bit, as they've been pushing and pushing for those 18 minutes. Now they've got to do it for an hour. Those tyres are going to be screaming in a car like this, flinging it and around. And, you know, in these cup cars, you've not got much downforce. You're relying on that mechanical grip so much more that the tyres simply just really, really struggle, and they can overheat so easily. And that's going to be the biggest challenge over this hour. And whoever comes out on top, honestly, I don't think it's going to be down to pure pace. I think it's just going to be down to managing your tyres and not making any mistakes.
Yeah, this is a really tough track on tyres. It's always really warm here. It's like it's the warmest circuit on iRacing, and so it really does kill the tyres a lot. And there it is, 37 degrees track temperature, so not awful for drivers, but it's still yeah, really bad for them. And I think they are going to have to change tyres as well at their pit stop. From what I've been seeing up to just half an hour, you can be down to below 50% tyre wear remaining. So I think we're going to have some long pit stops later on. This man, Leon Rudinja, having a decent time of it. Defending champion, like I said, hasn't been a great season for him, but he is up there in 4th place. Currently, Luis Belicki for Apex Racing Academy, leading the way. Corey Lazarus was top of the Pro-Am drives in qualifying, and Thomas Asphalt was top of the AMs. And welcome as well to everyone in the YouTube chat. A few people appreciating my intro. And thank you guys, Charles and Glenn and Nick as well. And hopefully you're all having a pleasant evening here at here on the 19th. I
really hope that someone at Apex can post it on social media, just because
if anyone posts it, it will be me, so you need to convince me. And so far, honestly, you haven't given me a whole lot of confidence.
Well, mainly because I know how creative is the best word I can use you are at writing, so I sort of know where that stemmed from. So, but I mean, yeah, it was very impressive. I'm terrible at writing mostly. I could probably write a good comedy, but that's about it. I probably couldn't write an interesting story. I couldn't write something like The Hobbit. No, not for me. But I could do something remotely funny, because my sense of humor is that of a 12-year-old. I haven't moved on since.
Wolfson moves up to P8. I think Faria, speaking of 12, I think just moved up to P12 as well. Nicholas Nolder, he is just crossing the line as well, but he's not improving, maybe just starting on a fresh lap is Nicholas Nolder. Of course, gut-wrenching result for him last time out, leading the way with half a lap to go, and made a mistake out of nowhere and lost his first lost his first A final win of the season. Of course, if he could win tonight, it would be an even bigger win. Big points available for a race win tonight, and that's what Nicholas is looking for. However, he's not going to do it from 13th.
No, not really, but I mean, like I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, I think, honestly, we could see drivers starting not that high up, probably somewhere like 10th, or, if they can manage their tyres well, get a good pit stop, then they could easily win this race. It's going to be very, very different from what we've seen over the last few rounds, and I kind of like that. I like throwing a little spanner in the middle of the season, and these drivers do have, I think, is it 2 drop rounds? I think I'm right in saying.
1 drop round.
Only 1? Oh my god. Okay, so they have no. Okay, I could have sworn it was 2, but it might have been 2 for us when we did prototypes. Maybe, don't know. Either way, they've only got 1 chance to mess up this season, which I guess is probably going to be this race for some drivers, since, again, it's a new format, quite unexpected. It's just a step into the unknown for a lot of these guys. We could have some who may not have practiced it at all and just did their normal sprint practice in the officials. But either way, we're going to find out. Still got the grid positions to sort out, though, and well, it's actually rather muddled up as far as I'm aware. It's a bit different from what we've seen so far this season. Nick Madsen has been struggling a little bit over the first half, and well, he's right up there, back where we really expected him to see.
Here we've got 3 former champions up in the top 6 at the moment. Madsen, Rudinja and Yanni. Hammer is also a former Pro-Am champion, won the Pro-Ams last season as well, so there's plenty of clouts at the top of the in the front few rows as the drivers are starting to get up. Once again, it's a standing start, which is weird to have for an hour-long race, but that is the series. Luis Belicki on pole position then for Apex Racing Academy, ahead of Nick Madsen. Patrick Thompson, who won last time out, lines up in 3rd. Then it's Rudinja Lazarus with an amazing qualifying up there in 5th place, beating Pesk driver Michael Yanni. Then it's Philip Hammer, Victor Wolfson, Bernardo Faria and Joe Vegard Godestad. Then it's Hersaug Salomon in a disappointing 12th, by far his worst qualifying of the season. We've consistently seen him on the front 2 rows. Then it's Pedrick, Nold, Moldovan, Jensen, Afonso, Koss, Higgins, Pennington with a weak qualifying. He was on pole, I think, last week, but only 20th tonight. Then Kaleo in 21st, Christensen, Pedersen, Lewis Ward, and then top of the amateurs is Thomas Asfalk. Behind him is Albert Quattrop, Tiago Pereira, and Emil Koopmans. Then it's Molliord, Palomino, Bjorkland, Moldecleve, Hereford, Marshall, Horg, Erger, Livingston, Young, Key, Volta, Timberlake, Van Put, and Nick Horn, rounding out the 43 cars. It's as though it's a NASCAR race.
Yes, we got a stacked grid, and one that is about to find out how on earth they're going to get through these next 60 minutes. And quite frankly, I think we could end up with maybe half the grid in this race by the end. I think with those tyres just getting towards that stage where they're sort of just down to the canvas, and even worse, probably down to the rim, they're just going to spin off, make a lot more mistakes, and the top drivers who have practiced a bit more managing those tyres are going to be the ones to end up on the top step of the podium.
Let's find out who they are. It's Louis Balicki and Nick Madsen on the front row of the grid. 60 minutes of racing is about to get underway here at Interlagos. The lights go out and away we launch. It's a great start for Thompson, who's trying to make his way through the order. It looks like it's going to be an Apex Racing Academy 1-2 heading into turn 1. It was an awful start for Madsen, who was just swallowed by the rest of the field. He's already been passed by Yanni and several others heading into turn 1. Through the snake they go for the first time. There is an incident behind, and that's forcing a couple of drivers wide, and that is Corey Lazarus. After a fantastic qualifying, the Pro-Am driver slipping back down the order.
Yeah, the good car control, though, for him to be able to keep it on and not spin on to the rest of the field. Into turn 4 we go, very much side by side. That's Nick Madsen going off the track and getting just absolutely swallowed up even more. There's even more contact. That was one of the Utzon cars. Comes back on the track and murders, I think that's Christensen. It was actually Goddestad, my fault. And that's a few other cars involved there. But that was a bit of a silly rejoin there from Nick Madsen. Moldovan is involved as well. And Nicholas Nold as well. That's huge for the championship. Nold, who needed a clean round today, has gotten off to one of the worst starts he possibly could have. He's down in 40th place.
That was very much Fisichella, truly 2009-esque, as Lazarus is off again. What a change around. It means that Joe Pedrick is now top of the Pro-Am drivers. And there are a lot of changes. Luke Pennington is up 10 places, I'm saying, up into 10th position. Leader of the leader of the ABS is still Thomas Asfalk. He's up 5 places, I think, just picking his way through the issues. Nicholas Nold, I think, may have had another incident further down the order as they survive. Most of the drivers through the first lap without contact, and it's still Balicki leading the way. Rudinja looking very racy, though, in P3. There's some racing behind. Gabriel Salomon is up to 5th place. He's gone up 7 places from his race start.
Yeah, and, well, Sam, you can probably have a guess what's happened, so you'll have to comment on this replay. But yeah, if it's what I think it is, I think Madsen just spun into Rudinja. And let's hope he doesn't have any damage, but I could be completely wrong. I'm just guessing what the replay is.
No, I think you are right. Like, I think he seemed to actually be in a bit of control, actually, Madsen, when he did move to the left, and it just squeezed Rudinja. But I think Rudinja's got away without too much damage. Won't be too bad. He has got a bit of air damage, as Johan Palomino is off the circuit. It does look like he's picked up a bit of front damage from that incident. We've got Madsen back to the pits, and we've got Young back to the pits. I don't think Young started, so it's just Madsen, the only driver who similarly had to tow back. Hopefully we see him back out on track, but what a shame after, by far, his best qualifying of the season.
Yeah, I was just starting, I said a couple of minutes ago, he's up where we should be seeing him. We know how quick Madsen is, but yeah, just absolutely, well, thunder throttled it on the start, and yeah, just slipped down the order more and more. And like you said, Jono Trulli very much in 2009, pretty much the same accident, to be honest, and then spun back on the track and got Nold involved. I think it was Moldovan as well, a couple other drivers, and I think about half the grid are running damage right now, which is not ideal. We've got a couple cars that went into the pits on lap 1 as well. I think there's about 5 of them, so a couple guys already out of this race, unfortunately. Still got 57 minutes to go, so anything can happen in this, and you just got to keep on going. You got to suffer through the damage, wait until your pit stop, and just see if you can gain any places. Until then, there's a huge gap already between Yanni and Salomon, as of course that start very much hindered Salamon's progress, but gained places, but just lost a huge chunk of time to the guys ahead. And, well, it's a long old gap, that 4 seconds, but like I said before, pit stops can really shake things up, and I think that's where we're going to see gaps increase or decrease.
Bit of Hammer with a lot of damage on his car. Oh, as we've got a spin around, it looks like it's Gordon Hawk who has gone off, and he's being nice and cautious on his re-entry. Hammer has, by the way, got past Pennington now through the middle part of the sector, and Payne's going to lose a few more places as well because the drivers are sprinting their way past, and that is a huge shame for second place in the Pro-Am Championship. And whilst his main championship driver, Igor Koss, is up into 11th place, Pennington seeing those positions drip away, and we're going to find out how it happened. He's already sliding all over the place.
Nice
Easy move for Hammer to get underneath, and then I guess he's just overheated the tyres. He's got no grip left and spins around into the other drivers, who did a very good job at avoiding.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the more difficult things in this car, and why it does take a really, really good driver to get the best out of it is it is so easy to overheat these tyres. And when I say easy, I really do mean, like, take this car out for a drive if you haven't, and just wait until you see how easy these tyres overheat. It really can affect the way you drive. This is Pedersen trying to get past, I believe it's Higgins in front of him, and a fairly good track for overtaking, I'd say. This one of the best in the world, in my opinion. There's just plenty of overtaking spots, and that's why we're seeing quite a few incidents and a lot of guys going side by side, making a couple mistakes, trying to gain time. This is Christensen now on Pedersen as he got a poor exit out of turn 3, and Higgins is just pulling away a bit more ahead of these guys as Christensen gets up into 14th. And look at this battle going on all the way to 13th place. This is going to be quite good over the next few laps, and well, let's hope they can keep it clean as they head into the middle part of the lap, which is fairly single file. There's Pedersen going very deep, and 2 cars going side by side through there. I think that was Herzog and Quattrop, and they made it through relatively cleanly. But I just said there wasn't an overtaking opportunity, and they just forced me to shut up. I believe there's been an incident behind as well.
There was a bit of smoke behind, wasn't there? I wonder if it was involving Thiago Pereira, because he's now going alongside Oyston Hereford. He's up 8 places from his race start, and just has to slot him behind. But of course, then you start the chase up the hill, albeit actually the 130 is going to go for it. It's going to kill their run coming onto this very long flat out section, one of the longest flat out sections we'll have all season long. And Oyston Hereford making some extra shapes seemingly before he even gets to turn 12. And now they rattle round this bold shape final sector and onto the pit straight again. Anyone making moves? Bjorklund could make one himself, but he decides to be a little bit more patient, currently running 3rd place out of the amateur drivers. I think Afonso, by the way, has just got past Koss, so Afonso up into 11th position and 2nd place out of the Pro-Am drivers.
Honestly, I think just looking at the gaps at the top and what kind of lap times we're seeing right now, I'm not sure if Balicki is really the fastest one on track. Of course, he's first, so you'd think he would be, but there's just a couple of guys behind him that are just setting those few quicker lap times than him. You've got the likes of Yanni and the driver behind him, his teammate as well, Thompson as well. But could be argued that they're in the slipstream, so they are, of course, gaining that little bit of time on the straights. But top 4 are fairly single file right now, and well, the 3 of the 4 cars are all Apex cars, so it's definitely going to be a bit of teamwork there, and Rudinger probably feeling a little bit threatened right now. He's got a lot of work on his hands, as I'm sure Michael Yanni is going to be desperate to get past Rudinger as soon as possible. But since Rudinger is also in that slipstream, it's going to be a bit of a tough ask.
I can see these guys just being very patient. I think everyone's terrified of the tyres, and the fact that they don't go half an hour, and they've got to go half an hour twice in this race. And so I think if you're not leading, I think it's maybe just a chance to save your tyres and make sure you've got some left when it gets to the half-hour point. Of course, we have a 60% fuel limit for this race, and so the drivers will be able to go a maximum of 35 to 40 minutes. It's very similar to GT3 cars, are these when it comes to their fuel tanks. And so they should be able to go upwards of 40 minutes on tank fuel. So anyone who's got damage are going to have to keep on limping around there until about the 20-minute mark that'll be the earliest that they can come into the pits and get to the end of the race with just a single stop.
Yeah, it's just that's what this race is going to be. It's just patience and a little bit of more patience. It's just going to be, honestly, after those first few laps, this is probably not going to be the most entertaining next 50 minutes because everyone's just going to be saving fuel and tyres, which you can't really blame them for. That's how you win a race. But yeah, just I guess it makes our lives a little bit easier. But well, okay, I start talking and Lazarus thinks, oh no, I'm going to go for an overtake as he makes his way up into 32nd place. He's got a lot of work on his hands after having, well, a pretty dreadful first opening lap of this race. A couple of cars ahead as well, Moljord and Bjorklund going wheel to wheel, and Lazarus no doubt is going to be eyeing up the next few places. I think he could possibly still finish within the top 20. I'd say he's got some decent pace, but is he going to just sacrifice this first stint and just think, right, I've got, you know, I had a poor start, I've just got to push and get some track position, get ahead, set some quick lap times, and hope that I don't lose too much time when it comes to the pit stops. Higgins has now also got past Kos for 12th place. As here goes Lazarus into turn 1. I wouldn't be surprised if Moljord doesn't fight this one at all. Yes, Moljord just doesn't really defend that one at all. And Lazarus is up to 31st and surely has got a couple more places that he wants to get. But Nicholas Nold as well, 2 places ahead of him. Another driver to keep an eye out for the rest of this race.
Yeah, they're both making their way through. There's an epic battle currently between Kos and Co, and we've just been able to catch it now. At the front of this is Higgins. So Higgins, maybe he was always in 12th place. Oh, this is very tight, very wide. Wow. How has Lewis Ward survived that one? He was barely giving any space, and yet there was space for 3 cars to all survive that corner. Miraculous stuff. And it's been an awful lap for Igor Kos. He's the big loser out of this because at the start of this lap, Kos was up in, what, 12th position? He was ahead of Afonso. Afonso, meanwhile, has got past Higgins as well. And Kos has just been dropping down the order of that. And Thomas Asfalk having an amazing round right now. The amateur driver up there in 18th place for Racing Lab Esports Car X. He'll be making up good points on his championship rivals as it stands. Meanwhile, Bernardo Faria is making his way past Mads Jensen. Jensen with a pretty slow lap that last time round, about half a second slower than everyone around him. And Faria has it easy to get past. He can now chase after the top 6 drivers.
Obviously, this is around the time, this sort of 12-minute mark, where if you have been pushing for those opening few laps, well, your tyres are just going to be thinking, what are you doing, mate? You've stuffed it for the rest of the stint. Well done, and well, have a good next 20 minutes because we have no grip now. So possibly what some of these guys have done, I wouldn't be surprised. As you know, like I said before, these guys really, some of them don't know how much the tyres are going to be able to hold up over these next, 50 odd minutes, and of course got that pit stop in between. Yeah, the top guys probably do, as they've done, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of practice, so they all know more about the tyres than the tyres themselves. As, Jensen just starting to drop back a little bit, although Wolfson has just gone very deep into that corner there as we head into the final section. And well, I've got to say, I'm really surprised Interlagos doesn't get used more on iRacing. I don't know, I feel like it's rather underappreciated. You don't really see it on many officials anymore, and I've got to say, it's a bit of a shame, Sam. I like this place.
I think it's because it's not really used for a lot of worldwide motorsport besides Formula 1. Of course, WEC is coming back this year, and I do think that will spur some extra interest in this track. But yeah, over the last decade or so, yeah, you don't see a whole lot of racing, as here comes Christiansen, moving past Higgins. Higgins does look to be struggling. Afonso has pulled away from these guys easily, and Higgins looks like he's only going one direction at the moment. He is up 6 places from his start, but I can see him losing a few more of them because Pedersen is behind, Herstag is behind, Ward is behind. Quatchup is having a good race, and he started in 26th place to Quatchup, but he's up 9 places from his race start. And Higgins is going to have, I think, as you were saying before, a long 20 minutes before he can get some new tyres.
Yeah, it's just being patient, as about half the grid have this mentality, and the other half just think, I want to overtake you. And, well, we're seeing it right now. That's awfully close. Koopman's really, and that's what it's going to end up as. Koopman's just got it all wrong through there. Keep it clean, and he's hit. I think that's Paria as well. And that was Leon Ergo, my apologies. But, yeah, that was just a bit of a silly move there up the inside and didn't manage to keep it clean.
I think Paria's got damage after that.
Yeah, he's pulled off the road, and yeah, a couple guys now have unfortunate damage, and that's going to be a even longer race for them as well. Your straight line speed's down, you've got no grip in the corners, and yeah, it's just a horrid time, especially in a car like this. And Paria somehow managed to avoid most of that, to be fair.
Oh yeah, he's being overtaken. I think he was actually the one who got the big hit. I think he said it was Ergo. I think it was actually Pereira who got the biggest hit of that. So will he come into the pits because he's painfully slow? He can't really get into the pits from this point, or maybe he will. Yeah, and he can't get to the end of the race from here. He can't do 45 minutes on tank of fuel, even around here, which is quite a low fuel consumption circuit. I believe he'll come up short. So this is an extra pit stop for Pereira, which will lose him another 25 seconds or so.
Yeah, I mean, unless he somehow has some magic strategy of fuel saving and clutching into every single corner, then...
Like, no one ever races this length in these cars. So it might be that these cars go an hour and 30, but we did do it a couple of seasons ago, a couple of these races, and yeah, I think the longest you can go is 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. It could have changed since then, or, you know, like I said, they might have some magic fuel-saving strategy. It will make him very slow. Speaking of slow, going too wide into this corner is going to lose you a little bit of time, as Moldovan, I think, is the attacker on Bjorklund. He's trying to make his way through the field as he had a poor start. A couple of our pro drivers really did not have a good start to the straight. Bjorklund thinks he's able to defend from Moldovan, and Moldovan really trying his luck through this middle sector, but yeah, like I said, it's just not really an overtaking spot unless you're a lot quicker, a lot braver, and well, yeah, there's a change for a second, and I think Rudinger's off somewhere. Yeah, he is, and he's slipped down the order. Well, that's going to allow Michael Yanni all the way through. I think it was Rudinger who was attacking on Thompson, and we've also got Hammer who's come into the pits.
Okay,
so Goddard into the pits.
Maybe you can get to the end of the race from here.
Yeah, Sam, you're wrong.
I was wrong. This is a big undercut. For Hammer to be going for the undercut here. Usually very good in the long races. Had a really good Le Mans race, I remember last year when we lost this type of race. I don't think Rudinger was even going for a move there.
No, he just outbroke himself. Yeah.
He was lucky not to wipe out the leader. He managed to find a gap.
Yeah, that was impressive and not impressive at the same time there. He managed to avoid him, and this is Moldovan still trying to get past. He has got past, and Bjorklund now under pressure from Pennington, who also was one of the guys who didn't have a good start. About half the grid didn't have a good start, so my apologies if I say that a lot, but yeah, it was a really, really chaotic lap one around the outside of turn 6. This is a rather brave move, and well, unfortunately, it doesn't give you the ideal line, but Pennington seems to make it work if you can keep the inside line for this next corner, which he has done. If he could just get a good launch, he does, and he's made up the plates. That's what Moldovan should have done on this last lap, but couldn't quite do it, and just cost him about another half a lap to try and get past Bjorklund, who seems to be holding people up in a bit of a train right now, as Pennington should probably be able to pull away after, I'd say, the next lap or so, as Bjorklund is going to get the slipstream on Pennington. There's a little bit wiggly out of the last corner there. I think that's the tyres already just starting to go off, and like you mentioned before, this track is extremely hot, and it's just a tyre killer, really, and it's not very nice at all, especially in a car like this where, I mentioned at the start of this broadcast, you need the mechanical grip as much as you can, otherwise your lap times, and, well, you're just going to suffer mentally and physically. So, yeah, we're seeing the likes of the AM drivers just struggling a bit more, and can't say I'm surprised, a little less experience, and we're just seeing the pro drivers gaining that little bit more time as the guys at the front are really starting to pull away from the rest of the grid now.
Yeah, although Salomon's got good pace at the moment. in 5th place. He's just bridging that gap. Was up at like 4 seconds, I think, at one point. He's got it down to 2 seconds now.
It was 5.
Yeah, and Jay Pedrick as well, doing amazing as a Pro-Am driver. To be as high as 6th place and only 4.6 seconds off the lead. So I think Balicki's sort of pacing this one, and he's sort of managing his tyres, and he's thinking about the long game. But he is bringing some other guys into play at the moment, which is what we want to see. Should be a fun race from here. Watch out for Faria as well, who started back in 9th place, making his way through, and a few others. And of course with the early pit stops as well for Hammer and Kay, that will be quite the strategy, and we'll keep an eye out on what their lap times are. You can of course check out the live timing yourself by clicking on the link in the description below, provided by SDK Gaming. And there you can have the latest lap times from the drivers, their best lap times, their sector times, their pit stop times, and all of that information. So do recommend that one. Although, looking at the drivers who have pitted early, Philip Hammer, interestingly, not taking tyres. Only 10 seconds stationary. So maybe the tyres can do the full hour. And yeah, Hammer feeling confident about that.
Yeah, I'd say if that's the case, maybe he's just... it could also be that he just doesn't know the strategy. We don't know. It could be he does, and he's an absolute genius. But we'll find out towards the end of this race. That's Muldercleave going for a spin. I believe that's on the exit of turn 4. Ooh, that's a precarious place. Oh, that is terrifying.
Oh, no one's going to see him.
Oh
man.
He's one lucky man along with the rest of the grid. That is absolutely terrifying. That is blind going through. You can't see what is on the left side. Coming through there, so I'm very impressed that nobody actually ran into him. I would have liked to think that the spotters that these guys have were definitely notifying them that, oh, there's a car on the left, go right, don't crash into him, please. But Muldercleave very lucky to get away with that one. I'm really impressed, and well, yeah, watching that on board, it did scare me quite a bit. It was a bit like a roller coaster, but he managed to survive, and well, Hammer, who we were just talking about a minute ago, is down in 33rd place, and I am quite surprised to see him pit early. If this is strategic and not he was just repairing damage or something, then I gotta say it's a bit unorthodox. I mean, usually on a fuel stint like this, you want to go right to the end, run the tank down, and use those lower fuel laps as much as you can just to gain that bit of extra time. But no, he's choosing to get stuck in, and unfortunately he is stuck in traffic as well, so that's definitely going to hamper his progress. But yeah, different. That's going to hamper. Yeah, that's Madsen going for it again. I don't think that's Madsen.
Yeah, it is. He's
Palomino, and he's a lap down. Oh god. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. I didn't even realize. Yeah, he had a really poor start. I didn't realize it was that poor though. It's he was trying to be lapped, and well, I think that's going to be a slam dunk penalty coming his way, and. Well, it's just not been his day. Had a good qualifying. He was started 3rd, I believe, but just has not had any luck in the race. That's some aggressive defending from Nicholas Nold on Godestad there. Into turn 4 we go. Nicholas is also one of the drivers trying to come back through the field, but doesn't seem to really have the pace today, to be honest. I didn't think he qualified well. And also, that's a bit of net code there. Yeah, and Godestad's going for a ride in turn 6. Gets back on the track, though. And another incident for Nicholas Nold, just to add to his little bit of misery. And Godestad surely isn't going to be happy with that one either.
Yeah, these guys are currently 2nd and 3rd out of the drivers who are pitted. But they are some 14 seconds behind Philip Hammer, who's the leader of the drivers who has pitted. Expect Hammer to be around 10th position when he comes, or when everyone else comes into the pits. Oyster Hereford, next driver to come in. Few rumours, by the way, on the YouTube chat. Horn on the mega undercut. Well, Horn hasn't pitted yet, so if he's going to do the mega undercut, then he needs to come into the pits now in order to pull that one off. But he's staying out there. He's doing the overcut right now. If anything, is Nick Horn compared to some of his rivals. I do love the Nick Horn support, by the way. And welcome to Avery as well, saying that he loves the series. Hopefully doing more commentaries with yourself, Avery, in the near future after a very successful Super Formula campaign, which ended last Thursday. But of course, this the very last race of Apex Racing League for this year. As Hoyston Hereford, after that pit stop, comes back out and just ahead of Nicholas Knoll, so he's second place out of the drivers who have pitted.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe Nick Horn just did a pit stop that iRacing hasn't detected, and he's done such a mega undercut that even iRacing doesn't know that he's done it. So maybe that's the case. I don't know, but yeah, like you said, he's got to sort of come in now, otherwise it's going to be, well, not an undercut. It's just going to be a pit stop. And
well, they've changed their narrative now. Has Liam slipped us? He said, "No, we mean overcut." So very much changing the narrative as the race goes on. But whatever Nokia's doing, I'm sure it's the best
Ferrari pit stop. Yeah, just for very much a Ferrari strategist thinking there. Just we'll change. We change as we go along. It's fine. Pennington also coming into the pits now from 25th place, and I gotta say a lot earlier pit stops than I thought we'd have. Hammer making some progress there as he moves up into 26th. Fairly easy overtake for him into turn 1, and he'll be surely getting past Bjorkland within probably this lap actually. And he's making some decent progress, and well, who knows, this undercut could actually be the way to go. But like I mentioned before, I would think that you'd want to run this tank all the way until it's basically got nothing left, as it just puts less on the tyres. It means you can run with less fuel, you can go a bit quicker, and in multi-class racing it makes more sense to pit a bit earlier since you can avoid traffic. But the only traffic you're getting here is just lapped cars, as Nick Horn, I believe, they're getting overtaken by Howe for 29th place there. And I also noticed Nick Horn no longer is the lowest rated iRacing driver in the lobby. He's got 2k iRacing.
Look at Nick. He's gained 700 iRacing from the start of the year. What? I mean, now he's showing himself. I mean, he's going to be fighting for overall victories by the end of the season. What has Nick been drinking recently? Incredible stuff. Gareth Higgins has actually done a pretty good job at keeping these guys behind. I thought he'd be dropping down because it looks like he was earlier on, but he might be dropping 2 places, maybe even 3 places here because he's on the outside 3 wide. He's going to try to stay there, but they're 3 wide again, and Lewis Ward is going to try to take advantage of this. Off the circuit goes Higgins, and losing out from that was himself and Pedersen, who even after all of that was not able to get past. Ward goes past, Hersau goes past, and this one's getting a little bit personal as well. Pedersen's going to try not to run into the back of anyone in front of him, and they still are alongside here, and this could continue for the next half lap, honestly, just with the way that this Interlagos circuit folds its way through the hills. And Asphalt is got the best seat. However, Gordon Marshall, a bit under the radar, has been chasing these guys down after a poor qualifying and is now only 2 seconds off the amateur lead.
Yeah, just managed to keep it relatively clean, just that little bit of contact. And well, Lewis Ward just dipped on the grass, and it probably actually helped his tyres, to be honest. So he's probably quite thankful actually running in 13th place, and that's a lot of steering lock being used by Asphalt. That's definitely not going to be helping his tyres at all. But he currently leads in AM. He's had a pretty decent race actually, has Asphalt. He's up 8 places. A little bit skewed there as well by some of the drivers coming in to pit, but nevertheless, I'd say he's having a pretty impressive race. And wow, I've got to give a shout out as well to Pedrick as well in 6th place. He's been keeping very, very good tabs with the top 10 drivers at the moment, and he's got Farrier behind him, who's not really been able to make any headway on him. So big shout out to Pedrick, who's had some great pace this race, and would love to see him get a good result today. And who knows, he could be a little bit of a thorn in the championship in Pro-Ams. We just don't know, but he's really, really impressive today, Pedrick, and I hope he can get a good result this season, especially in this race.
Yeah, and as you said, that championship leader in the Pro-Ams, Icon Kos lost another position to Lazarus. So Kos is a while off the pace because Lazarus, remember, had a setback earlier on, and Ergo is also going to be his way past. So yeah, Igor down to 22nd place now. He was up in the top 15, I feel like it was Kos at one point, but yeah, not anymore. Asphalt, by the way, has got past Pedersen. He is having a miserable few laps at the moment, now down to 17. Seemingly struggling perhaps over these past few laps. I'm hesitant to call it the tyres necessarily, because of course many of the drivers aren't taking tyres, but I wonder if some of the drivers who are pitting on the halfway mark might be a little bit more willing. seeing that they can half and half their tyres and have very strong pace near the end of the event. Glenn Key up 20 places. Glenn often not doing qualifying. I don't know why, but he's recovered well, and he's the highest gainer of anyone so far. Jensen, by the way, has just got past Wolfson as well. That's between teammates. Jensen let Wolfson past about 15 minutes ago, and now they're switched back.
Pedersen coming into pit now. He's one of the top 15 to actually pit as well. And very, very differing strategies from everyone, which, to be fair, just makes it more entertaining for us. We've got very differing strategies. Some people going, I think the earliest we saw was about 10, 12 minutes ago. And we're about halfway through this race, and still about half the grid still haven't come into pit yet. And, well, like I said before, I'm predicting that the guys at the top are going to go right until the end of that, as Livingston trying to find where his pit box is. He was too far back and then too far forward. Made a bit of a hash of that, as we're just going to rewatch that because funny. Then he comes into the pits, nice and lace on the brakes. And, he was at one of the first pit boxes, I think.
Like, is that number 2?
He was too far forward, and that's too far back, and he's got it, I think. Yeah,
I think
you go.
Yeah. Like he had no idea where his pit stall was there, and we've all been there. Daytona is the absolute worst one for it, where you're absolutely shooting your way into the pits, understeering, forcing you to the right, and then you see that you got the first pit stall on the left, and you just have to go through and accept it. Otherwise, you reverse too far, you will be getting a disqualification. Top 3, little bit of a break against Rudinja, but Rudinja's still very much there. Salomon losing a bit of time. Seems like the Apex cars just letting the taps run a bit more at this point, and they are starting to establish themselves as the fastest drivers. But I mean, you look at drivers further down. Roger Christiansen was only 2/10 off these guys in that last lap. Herstag was faster than all of these drivers on that last lap. Like, you go down the order, and there are some very quick drivers up and down the order who aren't there for whatever reason. Bogdan Moldovan, currently down in 21st place, just went faster than the race leaders.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the differing tyres just comes into this race, and you're going to see a very, very mixed up lap time list. Of course, the people have already come into the pits. They possibly might be setting quicker lap times or slower, depending on how much the fuel actually affects these cars. And these guys at the top still, I'd say, are definitely setting probably the quickest, considering the situation that they're in, the track position, how much fuel they've got. I'd say that they've probably got this in the bag. They know what they're doing. They're top 4. I don't think they need lecturing from guys like me and you who are just sitting in chairs shouting into a microphone.
Bragging rights champion 3 is speaking to me. Yeah? PSR Radical Winter Series champion, ARL Super Trucks champion, and
ARA
F3
champion. Pro-Am champion. Get wrecked. ARL Endurance runner-up. Now that's a flex. The only driver I finished behind was Marto, and he technically doesn't count. So technically I won the whole thing. Petrick has made a mistake, got to slow down. He's just let Farrier through. I'm 100% sure that was not intentional. I'm going to have a guess slowdown, but quite frankly, I don't know where you get slowdowns on this track. I'm just going to guess probably outbroke himself into turn 1 and went across the grass and picked up a slowdown there. But either way, he's dropped only 1 position, but still running well, of course, leading the Pro-Ams. And I was just thinking as well, you know how you mentioned Daytona is the worst pit entry? I've got one worse. Bathurst. I've done it before. I had the first pit box, and I missed it completely during the Bathurst 12-hour. And yeah, I had to do another lap with about 0.6 of a lap worth of fuel. That was not fun, and my teammates were not very happy with me.
I feel like I probably had one of the first pit stalls back when I did Bathurst 12 hours, because I was in the Porsche Cup back when that was a thing. They were the days, in the 991 Cup car against the GT3s. We were faster than them at the end of the straights. So that That was great fun. But I feel like there was only one year where I actually did more than about an hour of driving before we crashed out. So I don't really have much practice at Bathurst. Interestingly, though, I did win the BSR Radical Winter Series Championship at Bathurst. So thank you for reminding me of that one. No pit stops needed on that day because I didn't crash. But yeah, that was good memories, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Baron. Ergo has come into the pits, and Molliord as well. By the way, there has been one driver who has taken tyres so far. That was Simon Andre Livingston. He did take tyres earlier on, but he's the only one to do it so far. But I'm fingers crossed. I want someone to mix up the strats. So far, they're all being a bit boring.
I wouldn't say boring is the right word.
I think
mean,
Nold's taking tyres. Nold's taking tyres now. Oh no, that's Molliord. Molliord's taking tyres.
Yeah. Which, yeah, but by the looks of it, isn't the strat. So, fair play. These tyres can last until the end of the race. Down literally, probably. They're probably going to be driving on the rim, but by the end, not going to lie. Oh, that's going to be close. Erga and Nold nearly coming together. Nold just about getting ahead, and this pit exit usually isn't too chaotic, as well. You've got plenty of room on the left if you are coming out the pits, and shouldn't really interfere with the racing unless you don't see a relative and you just pull out in front of someone who is on the racing line. Definitely not talking from experience at all. But Nold making decent progress from considering how bad of a start that he had. I'd still give him a shot, possibly to get 25th. We've of course got a lot of other drivers who still haven't come into the pits yet, so he could pick up some decent points. But yeah, compared to Salomon, I think he's just going to be dropping a huge chunk of points now.
Not a rare sight to see Lewis Ward being overtaken, and that is one of the cases right there. One of the rookie drivers for this. He has previously taken part in ARA Porsche Cup, nearly won a race at Chicago Street Course, the only Apex Racing League event we've ever done. One of the funnest events I've ever done. One of the worst drives I've ever performed as well. Did an awful rejoin at one point and then proceeded with damage to hold up the rest of the field for half an hour. And yeah, and then it's incredible. I am absolutely well down for that circuit. I know that everyone hates it. It is so tricky. So tricky, because if you lock a brake, there's no escape routes. It's just a wall. And so if you lock a brake, you are in the wall. There's no like Long Beach where you can just lose 10 seconds doing a 180. That is a lethal circuit. And it's impossible to overtake. And I really wish we visited there more, but unfortunately the iRacing community have decided that it's not good enough to be worthy of official series racing.
I mean, I don't even own it. I've never driven it. So
oh really? Oh man, you should buy it. You should buy it.
Should I, considering you just said
it
that
will
none
make
of the
every other circuit seem easy. It will make Long Beach look like a piece of cake.
Right, I'll give it a go the next time iRacing goes down, but I don't think Lewis is going to be driving it anytime soon. Considering, by the way you described his race, he probably has some level of PTSD from it. So, but yeah, Lewis also choosing.
On the last lap.
Yeah, Lewis probably is not going there anytime soon. But Lewis also not taking tyres. I don't think Moldovan is going to be taking tyres. So, yeah, we've definitely figured out what the strat is, and excuse me, I do think that. You know, you might lose time, like on the track, not taking tyres, but at the end of the day, that's Nold getting awfully close to Haug in front of him. But yeah, you'll lose time on track compared to the guys who have taken tyres, but it's 15 seconds longer. You are not making that up within 20 minutes. That's just not going to happen. And yeah, oh, that's a send and a half. I'm not sure who that is. That's Haug on Moldovan, who saw an opportunity and decided to go for it, but he's probably going to lose 2, maybe even 3 places because of that.
Yeah, Nold gets underneath now. It's the 222 of Erga, who will try to pull off the same manoeuvre. We've seen the outside line at this section of the circuit work many times before. Not 100% sure if it's going to work this time, but actually no, Erga way more confident on the brakes. And yeah, from looking like he might gain a place, he has lost 2 places there. As Gordon Haug, albeit with the quality of drivers around him, he would have struggled to fight tooth and nail with them to the end of the race. Anyway, we're still waiting for our top 19 drivers to come into the pits. Still leader of the drivers who have pitted is Philip Hammer. Lewis Ward is second place in that fight. And Hammer currently 41 seconds off the lead. We are expecting him to be around Wolfson, I think Wolfson, Christiansen, that sort of level. There goes Balicki. He's got a 4/10 of a second gap. Still no changes really in the top 5 over the past 10 minutes or so. And with how early we saw some of the pit stops, we think these guys might be able to go another 5 minutes before they have to come into the pits.
Yeah, so your fuel estimations were wrong?
They were wrong. They were wrong.
I mean, very right. And actually, Michael there clutching in. So, Defo, I just said Defo. Definitely professional language.
Yeah.
Michael Yanni clutching in. Not surprised. These guys are definitely going to be fuel saving. And yeah, they're going to be going on for a little bit longer than the possibly other drivers behind. And a Salomon as well, just sort of stagnating around 4.5 seconds away from these guys. He got fairly close. I think the closest he got was about 3.5, but yeah, just lost a bit of time. I'm not sure if he just had a bad lap or the tyres really started to get to him, and I'm not sure, but he's still sitting in a comfortable 5th place, and considering where his nearest championship rival is, he's probably going to be quite happy with the way things are going at the moment. Might not get the win, but it will still give him a decent championship lead at the top, and I think that's all he could really ask for.
Yes, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And even Christiansen, I think, was up there in the championship, wasn't he, before, and not having a brilliant time of it at the moment. I got Koss, by the way, has just come into the pits. Oh no, he's overshot it. Awful day for Koss. He has been relentless in his consistent results, but not tonight. It's been a dreadful day for him, and he's going to be finishing potentially outside the top 30. It wasn't even a particularly poor qualifying for him. And there it was. You can see he was looking up the brakes, and he's well overshot that one.
Yeah, I have done that a few times where you think, you know, at low speed, the brakes know what they're doing. They won't lock up. And then you stamp on the brakes and the car just goes straight and doesn't stop. And you're like, okay, I've gone into the pit box in front of me. And it's a good thing that we iRacing drivers are not doing pit stops in real life, because we would be terrible at it.
It was amazing the other day. I was doing an IndyCar race up at Watkins Glen. They have animated pit crews for IndyCar. I'd never done an animated pit crew before, and all of a sudden I got people waiting for me and tyres being changed. It's great.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't do that for the rest of the series in iRacing. I think the only... Oh, that's a very big deep moment there for Pedersen, who hits Herford coming back onto the track. I don't think Herford's going to be very happy about that one. His teammate Erger has just been let through. They've got Haug as well, who's behind. Haug as well, actually. Got to give him credit. He's keeping up fairly well with these guys, and that's Pedersen going slow again.
Oh, is he laying him past?
Actually, I thought he was going to have a problem, but yes, you're absolutely right. He probably is letting him past. And fair play to Pedersen, if that is the case, and he thinks, yeah, that was a terrible rejoin by me, I'll give up the place. And, you know, if that is the case, then absolutely fair play to Pedersen. That's the sort of sportsmanship that we like to see. I know it's only sim racing, but, you know, it's always nice to be fair to your opponents and not shove them off the track. That's not a very good thing to do, but... yeah, fair play to Pedersen, made a mistake and owned up to it, so yeah, well done. But just going back to what I was going to say, I think the only two animated pit crews in iRacing is NASCAR and IndyCar, which NASCAR you can kind of understand because of how popular it is. Gabriel Solomon also coming into the pits as well. This is going to be interesting to see where he comes out. Let's hope he can hit his pit box, otherwise, well, he's going to be losing a lot of time, which he definitely does not want to do as the Pro Championship leader, and gets it on the marks absolutely perfectly. And he's not taking tyres either, so we've pretty much confirmed at this point that, yeah, don't take tyres, it costs you too much time. Christian also coming into the pits, and I'm going to guess the guys at the top probably either going to pit on the next lap or coming in this lap. Depends how good they are at fuel saving. But yeah, NASCAR having animated pit crews makes sense. It's very popular, obviously in America. iRacing is an American company. IndyCar, I'm a bit confused on, to be honest. It's not got the greatest participation. I get, again, it's American. They want to promote American racing, but it's just a bit weird doing it with IndyCar as well. Don't know.
Yeah, and it was something that they started doing like 2 or 3 years ago. And yeah, they just haven't got around to doing it for all the other cars. So looking forward to that. When it happens, it'll be really useful for us commentators to know when tyres have been taken. It'd be a lovely thing if that was actually recorded as well within iRacing. But
our graphics cards would explode.
that is true. I think Bilicki might be coming in. Let's see if the others can continue on. They have been fuel saving, and yeah, second and third do continue round, Thompson and Yanni. Bilicki will need to make sure that he stays ahead of Salomon. Salomon was stationary with 10.4 seconds. Seeing that Bilicki was able to go an extra lap, might be able to go a little bit further. Farrier also coming in, and Udinger was able to stay out, but Pedrick in, and Jensen, Wolfson, Afonso, Herstag, and a few others as well will be pitting. And yeah, let's see where Salomon is in relation to these guys. It looks like Salomon is still behind Bilicki, so Bilicki keeping P4 on track.
Interestingly enough, I think Salomon could possibly gain time on the likes of Thompson, Yanni, and Rudinger when they come ahead. Obviously, Salomon is probably still going to be ahead of Rudinger.
Oh, that's
that's
qualification.
Yeah, that's. What?
No, I think he gave up. I think Kotchup gave up.
Was he in the wrong gear? I'm confused. I don't. So he goes out, and then stops, and then. What?
Maybe taking the fast repair, maybe, or taking the windshield. Oh yeah, he didn't stop. He didn't stop the second time.
What?
It was a really normal pit stop as well for him, 14.6, so maybe 4 seconds longer than normal.
I've never been more confused in my entire life watching a broadcast. I'm genuinely at a loss. I think someone might have to ask him that question after the race. And Michael Yanni going for another lap. Okay, Michael Yanni doing some magic fuel saving there. I've no idea how he's able to go another lap, but fair enough. He, on that last lap, I believe, set the fastest lap of the race. So fair play. He's still got some good pace. As well, he's pretty much just running on fumes at this point. I don't quite know how his Porsche Cup car is still going, but fair enough. Michael Yanni going for another lap, and it just means that his pit stop is going to be that little bit shorter than the guys around him. Let's see where Thompson comes out in relation to Bilicki. And actually, I think Thompson is going to be well ahead of Bilicki once they come back out onto the track. And he's about a second ahead. And I think I'm right in saying that Bilicki was the one ahead coming into this pit stop. So
He was, yeah.
Salomon also getting past Rudinger there, but they are still battling. Salomon now losing the place to Rudinger. No doubt that they're probably going side by side. I did say I think Salomon would get ahead of Rudinger. They are literally side by side. I can tell just by looking. And Rudinger's now lost out and has lost a bit of time as we head into turn 6. And well, fair play to Salomon. He's up to 4th place as Rudinger goes for an absolute send. Rudinger seems to think he can get the place back, but I just think he went way too deep and lunged it there. And that was a bit of a desperate move, and Salomon stayed ahead, but there's going to be a slipstream battle all the way into turn 1. I can feel it coming. But one thing as well we need to keep an eye out for, Michael Yanni, the man who's gone the furthest in this race without pitting. And let's see where he comes out. I'd like to say as well, Patrick Thompson, I think I'm right in saying, is he got the fastest pit stop out of anyone. Actually, no, I believe Quattrop got a faster pit stop. But we saw, he reversed for some reason
so
back into his pit stop.
Maybe he underfueled and was like, oh no, I've got to take more fuel.
But he didn't stop.
He didn't stop.
He just reversed back and then instantly went. I still don't know what he did.
Going to be close between Yanni and Thompson. It was Thompson ahead before, but Yanni is going to get track position, and Thompson will have to go for something mad on this Yanni outlap in order to do something. But it looks like Michael Yanni has pulled this one off to perfection, running P4 in the early stages, running P3 before the pit stop.
Very quick pit stop.
But he's now P1, and he saved 0.6 of a second compared to Thompson on that pit stop, and that was the extra lap that he had. Clean air, low fuel, and the American managed to get it done.
Yeah, I know. I was saying just before Yanni came in that, you know, Thompson had an extremely quick pit stop compared to the rest of the grid, and he had the third fastest pit stop, and still Yanni had 0.6 quicker, and that's a big incident, and that's Ursau going straight into the wall. That was very, very aggressive driving by the pair of them. That was Hammer, who was also involved, who came out, well, practically unfazed from that. They both were just kind of banging into each other. I think Hammer was squeezing him quite a bit, but
that was a lot of netcode as well.
A bit of netcode, yeah, but at the same time they were being extremely aggressive with each other on a straight as well. But yeah, like I said, Hammer just unaffected. It's almost like it didn't happen to him. So interesting to say what the stewards will think after the race on that one. But Hammer has gotten himself up into 12th place, a little bit skittish coming out the final corner there, but he's in a very comfortable place right now, just sort of in no man's land. He's 2 seconds behind Alfonso in front, and Lewis Ward is about 10 seconds behind him. So fair play to Philip Hammer. I'm not sure, I think he had a not great start, so he's managed to gain it back up at the moment. But yeah, Michael Yanni has been on a bit of a mission in today's race, and well, if PESC races decide to get longer, then well, Michael Yanni for the championship, I guess.
I can't remember what they're doing, but there are going to be some different races, I think, for next season. So, yeah, not sure if they are longer races, but it'll be interesting to see if they do that. I do think these would be fun races, just every now and again, mix it up for the driver, see who can come out on top in different formats. As Erga has moved past Pennington. Pennington's now going to be done by, that's Madsen. That's Madsen making his way back there. I think Madsen is multiple laps down, right? No, he's only 1 lap down, is Madsen. He's unlapping himself currently against Pennington. And he started on the front row of the grid. He might try to do the same on Leon Erga very soon.
Yeah, and you know, this is what we were saying. Madsen does have good pace, and you know, had a fantastic qualifying, and that shows how good his pace was. But just had an awful start, made a couple of mistakes, and obviously had that one big one which sort of ended his chances of getting any decent points today. And like you say, he's just trying to unlap himself now, and this is always a bit precarious, trying to unlap yourself. You have to be super careful, and well, unlapping yourself at, oh, that was awfully close there, but Madsen managing to get past Pennington and Erga on this lap. Erga just leaving him the room. He does not want to get involved at all. Gonna get helping a slipstream as well, so Madsen can say, sorry mate, but here's a bit of slipstream. But yeah, laps, cars and Brazil, traumatizing for some. The 2 incidents that come to mind, both involve,
yeah, there's 2 of them,
Verstappen,
aren't there? Yeah,
Jos
yeah.
and Max.
I was thinking of the more recent one, but you're absolutely right. Poor Montoya, 2001, being wiped out by
Second
Jos.
race could have won. Yeah, I think that one would probably. Oh, dear, that's Kos getting very, very sideways coming out of turn 2, and Pedersen just walks on past. Gonna get a helping of slipstream. It is Kos, but I just think he's a little bit far back to go for a dive into turn 4. But yeah, I think if the Montoya Verstappen incident happened today, I think it would have caused even more of a stir than Ocon and Verstappen's did in 2018. I genuinely don't know what Jos was thinking, to be honest, and I'm surprised Montoya didn't punch him after the race, considering that was his second F1 race and he could have won it. And I believe David Coulthard ended up winning that race, which is just strange, considering that Schumacher was just quicker in every way. But anyway, you know, oh, that's a big spin for Gordon Howe, who I think has managed to keep it out of the barriers. There's Yanni going on through, who is extending his gap on Thompson and Balicki and Salomon as well. Yanni has absolutely blitzed everyone over these last, I want to say 5 or 6 laps. He's just been the star of the field, and well, like I said, if the races get longer in PESC, well, Yanni, I don't see why he can't win the whole damn thing.
Asphalt is up to 13th place overall. He's just got past Lewis Ward. Asphalt has got really good pace towards the end of this event. He's not going to catch up into anyone else. He's got 12 seconds up to Hammer. I wonder if Ward's got a bit of damage, actually, because he wasn't far behind Hammer earlier on, but he's been losing a lot of time since the pit stop. So Ward being caught and passed by the Racing Lab esports driver. We've also got this one between Koss and Pedersen. And that was Koss, I think, actually just getting past Pedersen.
Yeah.
So up into 24th place. Disappointing day for Koss, no doubt. But he's had a bit better pace in the second half of the event. I don't think he's going to catch up to anyone else. So he's got Thiago Pereira 3.5 seconds up ahead, and Pereira's a strong driver himself. Pereira, though, did pit back on lap 9. He's going to have to do the longest stint of anyone in this race. Remember, he got damage earlier on. So he would have had to have done some fuel saving. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Jensen as well has had a problem. I'm not sure what's happened to him. He's lost a few places, but Lewis Ward has lost a place to Goddestad as well.
I wish I was surprised. The fact that he's lasted this long, honestly, is an achievement for the guy.
I mean, I'd say 15 out of what, 46 is pretty impressive on your debut. I mean, he's third at the moment in class. Cut the man some slack, you know. Don't pill on him too hard. And well, he's got a front row seat to what's happening ahead of him as well. Jensen watching these guys go wheel to wheel in front of him. It's the battle for 8th all the way down to pretty much 11th. As well, that incident for Jensen has sort of sparked up another battle as Jensen trying to... Oh, he's off the track, and that's going to be a huge one. Yep, that's Alfonso going through, and Jensen, I think that's Hammer who got involved.
Yeah.
There's definitely 2 cars that went off. Oh, no, that isn't Hammer that got involved. That was someone else.
Yeah,
or am I blind?
Was it? Was it a back marker?
It could have been... Oh...
It wasn't Madsen again, was it? Madsen's around that area.
I don't think
but it was
Madsen.
his livery.
No, it wasn't Madsen. That's...
384.
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, that was a bit of netcode. And nice Walter.
So much netcode tonight. Someone in the chat said it. But yeah, Charles says in the chat, it's insane. And these are like Europeans crashing into one another a lot of the time. I don't know if there's something with the new build or something, but really bad.
It has been worse, yeah. Definitely. That is a good point to raise, actually. I have had some quite huge netcode moments recently in this new build, so that could be a shout, actually, you know. I didn't think of that, but it has been worse this season, definitely. But, I mean, we could just be noticing it more. I don't know, but definitely something suspicious going on. And I do want to know as well why iRacing has netcode so much worse than other sims. Because, I mean, you compare it to, like, R-Factor. I guess maybe because they're running more servers, it affects it. But compared to, like, R-Factor or Assetto Corsa, it's not as bad. But maybe I'm completely, you know, I have no idea what I'm talking about, probably. But I don't know. It just does seem to be a lot worse than other sims. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, so I've got no clue what I'm talking about. I'm just spitballing. I don't know.
I have no idea myself, honestly. And also someone who has no idea what they're doing is Lewis Ward, because he's just made a mistake down in turn 4, and the guy's going to lose another place here. And from he was getting a nosebleed, honestly, at P12, and he's at threat of dropping outside the top 15 now because Bogdan Molzman, who's been on the comeback trail ever since a poor start, got wiped out at turn 6 earlier on in the race on lap 1. He's done really well to come back, and he will soon be past, I think, because I think Lewis's tyres are giving up on him. As here is a resumption of a battle. Wolfson, who has been caught by Christiansen, and these are going to be some long laps for Wolfson to hold on to this 8th position. Afonso has been absolutely relentless. If Afonso qualified well, he would be well up there. Like, he'd be around Rudinja Faria level, I think. Like, he's been terrific as the Portuguese. He could definitely get past both these guys, because I think Wolfson, more than most, is struggling, and of course Jensen, his teammate, is struggling as well down in 12th place. So it does look like the Alton Motorsport guys aren't having a good time with it.
No, I was just going to say that the Usain cars do seem to be struggling a little bit more on tyres than some of the people around them. There's Christensen trying to put a nose up into turn 6, and well, the inevitable has happened, Sam. It's oh,
Dear me.
is he doing it at the Apex Sim Center, or is he just
He
doing it at
is.
home?
No, he's doing it from the Sim Centre.
Are you going to go give him a pep talk after this race? What's happened to Lazarus?
Oh no, Lazarus. Oh man, you come back so well through the order, and now he's off the track. It doesn't even look like he's got damage on the car. I wonder if this is a hardware issue.
No, he just gave up. No,
Yeah.
he just thought, I can't be bothered. I have seen this a few times. It happened during prototypes where someone needed the toilet and they just stopped.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just a thought. It could have happened.
It's a fierce snap. But yeah, he was doing actually well with Lazarus after an awful save. Spun twice on that one. Wilson has got past Christiansen. Apologies, Wilson is defending from Christiansen, but now he can defend no longer. He has been overtaken. Behind them, that's Alfonso. I think battling a back marker, I want to say. Is that Glenn Key? Who he's... No, it's a 2-2... No, sorry, Alfonso's the 228. The driver behind him is the 130 of Glenn Key. No, it is Glenn Key who's behind him. So I think he may have been held up a bit there, Alfonso, and it's left him with a bit to do to catch up to Wilson, because this is the last lap of the race. We've only got 10 more seconds on the clock, and Michael Yanni is set to take a first race victory of the season, and the man who won races back in season 7 and of course back in season 5 when he won the entire championship. He's going to take a win here in season 9 as well. And from running down in 3rd position for the majority of this race, he pulled off a perfect strategy. And once he got in the lead, there was no looking back. Michael Yanni for Apex Racing Team comes to the line and takes the round 5 victory at Interlagos. The first endurance event of the season goes to him. Apex Racing Academy make it a 2-3. Salomon will get good points in 4th position. Top of the Pro-Ams is going to be Joey Pedrick. What a performance from him. Incredible pace, incredible starts, and he finishes in 7th place. Congratulations. There is going to be a tight race between Wilson and Afonso to the line, but I think Wilson has held on. He lost lots of time on that last lap, but it was enough for the Danish driver to keep the top 9 finish.
Yeah, it's just about hanging on there. He's a couple drivers really struggling towards the end. And your winner in AM as well, Hasfal, got to say, really impressed by him as well. Up into 14th, and underrated drive. Someone we've not paid attention to literally at all this race. I don't think I've said his name once. Gordon Marshall, who finishes in 17th, up 17 places. He's had a stonker of a race. I think he is one of the highest, he is the highest gained place driver today, and well, got 2nd place, and that's really good points in the championship for him. So fair play. We didn't notice him all race, but he made the best of it and got a good result. Edison down 27th. That's definitely not where he wanted to finish. And like I said at the start of this race, it would definitely mix up the grid today. And I got to pat myself on the back for that one. And well, we got some very, very different results and some top drivers making a real hash of it. And it just made for a good watch. And it's going to throw some many spanners into the championship, and probably going to be a couple drivers drop rounds as well. And yeah, this is their one chance to get it wrong, and about half the grid did today, and some drivers taking tyres as well are going to be kicking themselves. But yeah, I'd say that was a good race, and maybe we could do this the whole season. I quite liked it.
Wow. I mean, do GT3 Trophy if you want long races. Like,
yeah, but GT3 cars are boring.
They are. I do prefer these Porsche cars. But no, it's nice to have it every now and again, and I do look forward to the heat format once again next time out. But yeah, I do like the variation. These drivers absolutely hate this format. Genuinely, they just think it's the awful thing, and they wish it was a heat format. But I like this one. So we keep it. Michael Yanni winning out. I won't go through the whole field because it's a long grid. Pedrick, top of the Pro-Ams, and Asfalk, top of the AMs. What a result for the Racing Lab esports driver. Some big points being made for those 3 drivers in the championship. And we'll give a quick shout out as well, because we haven't done so far, Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this series, for being the title sponsor of this series. Of course, Apex Racing Academy this season, once again offering many different setups for many different cars on the iRacing platform. And yeah, if you want to get yourself a subscription, do go to apexracingac.com and yeah, get yourself access to setups delivered by some of the best drivers in sim racing. And of course, for this Porsche Cup, you get the coach Michael Yanni, who won tonight. He was an excellent coach, Michael. Very patient, very much knows what he's talking about. Yeah, there's very few bad coaches out there on the server, so do thoroughly recommend that one. Let's have a chat with a few of our drivers, shall we? I think first up, we will have a chat with Patrick Thompson, who joins us now. Patrick, congratulations. It's not a race win tonight like last week, but it is a second position. You must be feeling fairly happy with that one. That was a strong result.
Absolutely. You know, it might not be a win, but I mean, it is Michael. He's a tough one to beat, and iRacing did a little bit of trolling me with the fuel, so I actually was saving really much from the pit stop, and ended up actually nearly having one lap too much. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but I'll settle for P2.
Absolutely. And of course, you were running for P2 for the entire race, pretty much, because you were stuck behind one of your teammates in the early stages. Talk us through that first 40 minutes. I mean, how hard were you guys pushing, and how big of a concern were the tires as well?
I mean, around here, definitely the tires are not necessarily a big concern, but you gotta be gentle and take care of them. Otherwise, they will massively drop towards the end. So I mean, Luis was putting a good and like decent pace out front, and I was just saving fuel, saving tires behind him, and kind of letting him rock the show. So yeah, he was doing an amazing job out there.
And what does the festive period hold in store for yourself? You're going to be doing much more iRacing, or is this the opportunity for you to take a break?
There's probably gonna be some officials in there. We have the Daytona 24 coming up very shortly in the end of next month, and hoping to potentially get in top split. So I wanna see if I can grind some more iRating.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that one, Patrick. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, once again, the two best teammates, Luis and Michael, was amazing having them out there, and as well to the Apex Racing team. I'm so thrilled to be a part of this academy and seeing where it can take me. So yeah, just a massive thanks to everyone behind Apex, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on this fantastic run of form over the last couple of weeks, Patrick, and best of luck. You can keep it up, and yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you.
Patrick Thompson there, finishing in P2 tonight. Aaron, who would you like to drag up?
I think I'm going to talk to Salomon. Honestly, I'm quite intrigued to talk to our current championship leader, who most definitely has extended his championship lead over Nicholas Nolden. Gabriel, it was not the easiest race for you, of course, but considering the qualifying you had, would you say a fourth place finish is probably the best you could have done tonight, or could it have been that little bit better?
I mean, the qualifying, I was devastated after the qualifying. I was thinking, like, what have I done? I've ruined everything. Like, all the chances that I had to put up a fight for all the Apex guys, it's gone. But after gaining like 6 or 7 places on the first lap, and then getting into some free air, I was slowly gaining on the pack of the Apex drivers up in front. But it just wasn't enough. They were giving each other slipstream, and they were doing such a great teamwork that I just wasn't able to keep up with them. So yeah, fourth, considering the qualifying I had and considering like the chaos on the first 2 laps, I'd say it's all right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you just about squeezed ahead of Rudinja after the pit stops as well. And just talk us through how important the pit stops today were. I mean, It looked like some guys were really benefiting from saving fuel and tyres. I mean, Michael Yanni was a full, I think, 2 seconds faster than your pit stop time. So would you say that was one of the biggest keys to getting a good result today?
Well, 100%. I mean, the pit stops, they are important, but it's also, of course, like pace. Yanni and Patrick Thompson, they did an incredible job on the fuel saving. I saw like Peter, like leader is pitting, and I definitely thought that it was Yanni that had, like, and all 3 guys that had pitted. And then next lap, leader has pitted. I was like, all right, well, they fuel saved 1 lap, and then they both went in. And then the lap after that, I realized that Yanni had fuel saved for 2 laps. I didn't believe what I heard. It was crazy. So yeah, it was a huge factor in the race, and whoever was able to, fuel save the most and fuel save the most efficiently, definitely gave them a huge advantage.
Yeah, and well, I mean, it's like this is the last ARL event of the year, and well, we've asked this to Thompson before, and well, before we let you go on your break, what are your plans over Christmas, man?
Honestly, spending some time with the family, and driving a bunch to make sure that this qualifying stuff doesn't happen again. And yeah, so a lot of driving and a lot of spending time with friends and family. That's the plan.
An absolutely humble response for a response worthy of a champion, I'd say. And well, it's been a pleasure to speak to you, Gabriel, as usual. And as is tradition, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Once again, I'd like to give a huge shout out to all the amazing guys over at Outson, and also to you guys, actually, for all the kind words that you've said about me on the live streams and so on. Throughout all the weekends. After all the races, the day after, I put them on my TV and I sit there and listen to all the commentary and all the kind of words that you guys put my way. It's I really appreciate it, and I just wanted to let you know that I hear it.
Yes, we feed your ego every single weekend, and well, you've only got to wait, I think, 2 weeks until we can feed it again at Aragon, and that should be a very, very fun round. Been a pleasure speaking to you, Gabriel, as normal, and well, see you in a few weeks' time.
See you. Have a nice break.
You too, man.
Gabriel Solomon earning himself some, more feeding of the ego there, because it's incredible. And not only is he talented, but he's also a nice person, and that's enough for us to continue complimenting him for the rest of the season. Got one more driver to go. Lewis Balicki now joins us. Lewis, 3rd position. When you look back at it, of course, that pole position lap, really amazing effort. Do you think pole position was the worst place to be? Because it seemed like you were dragging your teammates, punching a nice hole in the air for the first 40 minutes of the race.
Oh yeah, I mean, someone had to be at the front, so I was like, okay, I got the quali run. I got a nice draft, so I could put it on pole. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm the guy at the front, and then it worked out that we were the 3 guys at the front. So I was just trying to be there for my teammates. I knew they would jump me in pits. I hope that I had some more fuel and could push it a lot more, but I ruined my tires sadly after the pit stop.
Yeah, it seemed to not be as big an issue as what we were perhaps anticipating before the race when it came to the tires. I mean, is it the wear which is the problem with the tires, or is it mainly the making sure that they don't overheat, which is the main challenge?
I specifically have a problem with my front tire wear. They were really bad compared to everyone else. I had like 10%, 15% less than everyone compared to my team. But yeah, that slowed me down a lot, definitely.
And next up we head to Aragon. Have you done any racing on that circuit yet since it's been added to the sim?
I have actually not, so I will. I've heard that Patrick has done some laps, so I will see if I can get some info out of him.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that upcoming round, Luis. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, obviously the new Apex guys. It's been fun to race with Patrick and Michael at the front, and yeah, I hope for many more podiums with the team.
Nice one. Well, I'm sure it's not going to be long till you get on the top step of the podium, Luis. congratulations out there tonight, and see you back in a fortnight's time.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Lewis Balicki finishing in 3rd position tonight. And, well, that's all the interviews complete, Aaron. But yeah, we had a little bit of a chat about it before, but Aragon coming up next. Have you done any racing around there? I mean, the experience that I've got is a Super Formula race. I think that's about it. I've done a few laps as well myself, but I think it's a decent circuit. I don't think the community have 100% come to it yet, but I don't think the drivers will mind it when they visit it in the officials.
I have literally not turned a single lap at Aragon.
Do you know anything about it?
It's in Spain.
Do you know what the terrain is like?
It goes up and down a bit. That's all I know.
I guess a bit. It's very sandy. It's like in the middle of it's vast. It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. It does.
Well, I bought it for, I think it was the one F3 race you weren't there when we did it in the studio.
Of course, yeah.
I had to buy it, which was quite annoying, but oh well. Yeah, because I knew, just from what I've seen, it doesn't look that great. I mean, I've seen some praise on it, but
it's quite tricky,
I don't know.
I would say. Quite wide in places. Some odd sort of shaped corners where you got sort of double apex corners. Yeah, it's a tricky one to get up to speed with.
Just go to Jerez. I mean, if you want a good Spanish track, just use Jerez. That's just simpler. Barcelona's okay, but it's not great. Jerez is good. Sometimes, most of the time, it can be sometimes annoying. In radicals, it's good. For hot lapping racing, not so much.
Sure.
Just go to Jerez.
No, I do prefer Jerez. Yeah, Jerez is good. Maybe in the future we'll be visiting Jerez. Do look forward to that.
You wish.
But that's pretty much it for us then for this broadcast, and I think for me and Aaron as well for Apex as well for the year. Thank you very much for tuning into this broadcast and many others as well across 2023. Of course, if you have enjoyed this, please do leave a like on the video. Check out the Apex Racing TV and Apex Racing League social media accounts as well on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And subscribe to the channel as well, because it won't be long till this series come back. We've only got a 1 week break. The weeks perfectly align that we can just have a 1 week break, and then we'll be back racing again at Aragon for round 6 of the championship. So thank you very much for tuning in. But from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Aaron Smith and from Smoothie Kume, we will say goodbye and we wish you a very good festive break.